League of Legends has a unique ability to get under your skin. I've played many video games in my life, but none can compare with how frustrating League can be sometimes. You can go into a gaming session with high hopes and great energy, but come out on the other side regretting even turning your PC on. The worst part is, you know exactly when it's happening. You can feel yourself tilting, and yet somehow it seems impossible to stop. Tilt is so common in League that it has become infamous for its toxic community. And I want to do something about that, which means starting with myself. Welcome to my Becoming Better series, a climbing challenge that isn't about LP, but about achieving the kind of mentality I wish every person in soloq had. This video is a deep dive on key moments from my 5th stream of this series, and hopefully I can learn from those key moments and use that to improve myself in the future. So let's dive in. My first lesson comes from the second game of the stream. To give it a little context, my first game was a tough one. I'd been tilting a little bit as my bot lane was playing badly, forcing me to carry the game by myself. But it proved too difficult, and that had me go into game 2 already a little disappointed. In the second game, I had to lane against Zed. Fortunately, I had been coached by an LEC coach a few years back who had taught me exactly how to play this matchup. A matchup I previously hadn't been able to win. At first, I was a little rusty, but I quickly played how I was taught. I was controlling the lane, poking Zed every time he tried to CS, and got him low. Zed then made a mistake and went in for a 1v1 with half HP. I gladly accepted this 1v1, knowing I would kill him, but somehow I lost. And at first, I didn't know why. My character just defaulted to hit a minion, even though I spam-clicked Zed. I was stuck for 2, maybe 3 seconds, just watching myself lose a fight I knew I should have won. It had all happened so fast that it was only then that it hit me. I had connection issues. My client wasn't responding to my inputs. This failure then forced me to play a miserable lane stuck under tower with low HP. Not because I did anything wrong, but because my internet picked the worst 3 seconds to fail me. And this is where the first lesson lives. I don't have the control to stop every mistake in the game, but I can control how I react even when the game is genuinely unfair. In this instance, I spent half of the game being salty, whiny, and complaining about this injustice. I didn't make a mistake, my internet did. Still, I had to pay the price. I spent so much time feeling sorry for myself that I couldn't focus on trying my best. That led to even more deaths, which further fueled my self-pity, making me play even worse, and so on and so forth. And it would soon be jarringly obvious why it is so pointless to wallow in self-pity, because after about 10 minutes of cooling down, I managed to solo kill Zed even though I was behind. Reflecting back on this just leaves me astonished just how important it is to keep calm. My ability to make good decisions and play well is directly linked to my mental state. And even though that is obvious to say, it is incredibly hard to live by. But this also means that if I can manage to consistently have a good mental, then I can guarantee I play good League of Legends. To me, that is really reassuring and tells me that the goal I have set for myself is a worthwhile pursuit. However, we still have a long way to go, because killing Zed and getting back into the game had me under the impression that I had gotten rid of my tilt. But I was soon about to find out that that wasn't the truth at all. Keeping your calm when playing as stressful a game as League of Legends can be very difficult at times. And as we just talked about, your ability to make good decisions and play well is directly correlated with your state of mind. So what do you do once you've already tilted? How do you go from being tilted to being calm while you're in game? Sometimes it's just easier to try and push it down and forget about what made you tilt in the first place. This is what I call the lid metaphor. To help you better understand this, let me paint you a picture. You play your first game of the day, and you're immediately paired with a teammate that starts griefing. They aren't just having a bad game, they're actively destroying your chances of winning. This experience builds up frustration because despite your best efforts, it's just impossible to win that game. You feel frustrated, but manage to shrug it off and you go again. The short break of waiting in queue makes you forget about the frustration of the previous game. You've calmed down and hope to do better in game 2. However, unfortunately, you go up against your counter pick and you get solo killed in lane. But this, you can't just shrug off. You tilt even harder than you normally would in a situation like this. But why is your reaction disproportionately stronger? My experience with League tells me that tilt carries over from game to game, even when it seems as though it's gone. Tilt is like a parasite that keeps lingering no matter what. This is exactly what I experienced in game 2. I tilted out of my mind when I got solo killed in mid, but I don't usually react so strongly for being solo killed. However, because I lost the previous game, the frustration that I had suppressed washed over me again, as if it had never been gone. And losing my lane because of something I couldn't control, my bad connection, was too much to deal with. This phenomenon of rapidly retilting is something I struggle with to this day, even after playing League for 14 years. There is something so incredibly difficult in trying to detilt while playing League at the same time. And I can't find any parallels in the outside world where I experience this rapid buildup of frustration. That's very strange to me, and I struggle to understand why I can't seem to find comparisons to this. And honestly, I don't really know how to get better at detilting while being in the middle of a game. But open questions like these are also what gives me something to work on in the future. But hopefully my Becoming Better challenge will prove productive and I'll eventually achieve my goal. If you have any ideas for effective methods to detilt, please let me know in the comments. So that was a lot of insight, and I have to say I'm very excited going forward. To wrap up, what were the lessons of this video? 1. I have to shrug off the frustration of being subjected to something I find unfair. That's just League, and no matter how good I become, I can't control everything in the game, but I can control my own reactions. 2. When I get tilted, I don't actually cope with the frustration of solo queue. I just pack it away in a box and hope it goes away by itself. But as it turns out, that doesn't work at all. These learnings will take a lot of work to figure out how to solve, but that's what's going to make this challenge so much fun. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and engage with the video. See you later.